Hey, I'm Anna with Magnolia Mouths Media. Today we are in the capital of Mississippi, Jackson, with Charity Bruce of Mississippi Center for Justice. Good morning.
Hey Anna, good morning.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh no, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Charity, tell me, what do you do?
So I am an attorney here at the Mississippi Center for Justice, and I work specifically on the economic justice campaign, working on expungements.
What is an expungement?
An expungement is literally the clearing of a record. So it means to erase the record as if it never occurred. I think a lot of people think expungement only means to erase their criminal conviction record, but I will say that an expungement pertains to convictions and arrest. So you can erase your arrest record too.
It sounds too good to be true. I want to reiterate to people Mississippi Center for Justice is a nonprofit organization.
Yes, yes, a nonprofit social justice law firm. And we offer so many services, so many different campaigns. It's very diverse. We touch on topics, again, like economic justice, which pertains to expungement. We also help with foreclosure prevention, financial literacy. We have a health law campaign. We have an heirs property campaign, a housing campaign, impact litigation team. We have so many different campaigns, education, like I can name so many more.
Every time I hear more about the center, I'm just so shocked and appreciative. That is a lot of campaigns, and you serve.
All of Mississippi, the entire state. We have three offices. Of course, I'm in the Jackson office in the capital city. We also have an office in Indianola, and we have an office on the Gulf Coast. But we serve the entire state, and again, nonprofit. So our services are free.
Okay, which is so it's a valuable resource.
We travel across the state. We do educational seminars. We do lunch and learns. We do clinics where people can come and actually receive direct services that day. Meaning that if you come with the proper documentation, we can draft your expungement documents that day. And if we are partnering with another campaign, like for instance, Heirs Property, they can draft a will, a last will and testament for you that same day. So we try to do those, every so often across the state as much as we can because it's needed. And a lot of people don't know of the service, especially the free service. We want to make sure people are taking that advantage of free.
Right, right. So these seminars, rolling seminars, really kind of available to Mississippi citizens free of charge. Follow the Mississippi Center for Justice on social media. I encourage everyone to do that so you can stay aware of when these events are going on.
Yes.
So, with that said, I also am trying to encourage people in Mississippi to help make Mississippi better. And that's one of the reasons that you're on my radar because you're an attorney that works for a nonprofit organization, not a firm, not a private practice, not for the DA office, but a nonprofit organization. I want to know what led you to do that.
Honestly, I always knew I wanted to help people. Initially, when I went to school, I wanted to be a pediatrician because I felt, oh, a doctor is the only way I can help people.
Right.
But as I started to matriculate through school and I really started to weigh my options, I was like, wow, like I can actually be an attorney. And I don't have to be a corporate attorney or do private practice. I can be a social activist. I can do civil rights. I can, just educate people on things that they might not readily know all the time. And so it's interesting because I went to school at Thurgood Marshall, which is at Texas Southern in Houston. And a lot of people expected me to stay in Houston. They did not expect me to come back to Mississippi. But to me personally, we have so many great minds from the state of Mississippi
Amen.
that leave the state of Mississippi. And I wanted to come back to show that you can expose yourself, you can go as far as you want to go, but in order for Mississippi to really change and to be its best self, then we should come back and pour into it. And so I wanted to be a person that, inspires other people to follow similar paths, as well as just follow that similar path of nonprofit. Nonprofit work is so fulfilling. It feels so good to help people, especially people that might not have been able to get the service in which they need,
Yeah.
because of the price of a private attorney or a firm. So it's so fulfilling. It's so life changing, not only for the client but for myself.
Yeah.
And so it motivates me and it keeps me here and it keeps me excited to be here.
Right. I bet you feel touched by every case.
Yes, and it's I really do.
Yeah. That's how I feel about every interview. What made you want to pursue higher education?
Honestly and truly, I wanted to make a difference. And I wanted to make a striking difference. I wanted to be someone that knew more than what I was actually saying. I guess in a way of having an education and learning. And it's like, oh, I know so much, I learned so much. What more can I learn? And I wanted to be like a sponge in the instance of like soaking up as much information as I can, because somebody might not be afforded the same opportunity. And in that regard, I can then again pour into, or I can relay that information to someone else. I kind of want to do like journalism, and I always like wanted to be like, oh, I'm gonna be like a political analyst, and I want to go to DC, and I want to do this. And I mean, it's still a goal. But I knew that if I wanted to step into that realm, I needed to know more about that realm.
Yeah.
And so I told myself, okay, well, let me go to law school. Let me figure out what exactly does the Constitution say, or what are these laws that they're speaking to, instead of taking it for their word.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no, like, let me go do my own studying, my own research. That way I'll have my own understanding. And then when I enter into the conversation or enter into the room, then at that point, maybe we can have more of a fulfilling engagement and conversation. Branching into reentry work and looking up things as far as like a holistic standpoint. Because expungements are great. Expungements help. However, I also want to help the person holistically and not do the process of just an expungement.
That's beautiful.
So trying to, learn and educate myself on what resources there are and what are the proper procedures for people to really be returned full and whole before they were even, charged or convicted with a crime.
I love that. That's awesome. How far are you into your career?
I graduated from law school in 2020, and so I clerked for a year, and so I've been at MCJ since 2021.
You're going to do wonderful things. Like, this is just the beginning. You're already out there slaying. I mean, you're going to do wonderful things. So I mentioned to you that, one of my big advocacy efforts is crime prevention. I did a little filming across the country in late 2020, and I think a lot of times we forget or we don't relate to the rest of the country. Here in Mississippi, and then in each city I'm in, people complain about the crime is increasing, but it's everywhere. It's an effect from COVID. It's an effect from society. I think instead of complain about it, people should see what they could do to help it. And I find the different nonprofits I interview, everyone is doing something to help prevent crime. And expungements, in my opinion, help prevent crime. How do expungements help people with housing, employment? Why is it helping the people?
At that point, we talk about equity, and we want to talk about discriminatory practices. And although a person, even on MPP where I stated, like, although a person might simply have an arrest, if people are under the assumption that you are a convicted felon or that you've been convicted of a crime or an offense, then they will treat you differently. For employers, they will flag it. They might not want to hire you. They feel as if you aren't the best match, or they should go with a more qualified person. Likewise, in housing, the discrimination of, well, we don't want somebody that's convicted of a crime living in our community. However, again, expungements don't only help the criminal conviction record, but they also go to your arrest record. And it's so unfortunate because we've had clients that were under the impression they were convicted criminals based on how they were treated by previous employers as far as hiring practices and things of that nature, not being able to get a job because of something on their record. But when we sit and we talk to them and we actually pull the court documents, they were never convicted of anything.
Wow.
They were never convicted of anything. And
they were judged.
They were judged. It was a preconceived judgment and assumption of, oh, well, this is popping up. You're a convicted felon.
Yeah.
And it was so unfortunate because the client, I will never forget that day. She walked away with tears in her eyes because she just was under the assumption all
Yeah.
these years that I'm a convicted felon. I'm not gonna get these jobs. I can never work in government or in the medical profession, and that really wasn't the case. So I say that to say that I think that a lot of times with people's backgrounds and with people's records, there's a preconceived notion that if anything is popping up, then there's something there, or there's a conviction there, or there's a
Yeah.
need to have some type of caution with
Yeah.
that person. Well, that's not the case, and I really would love for people to more so ask questions,
Yeah.
or to work with people. I know that we've had employers in the past, if clients come to us maybe with a misdemeanor or something, I bring letters to say, hey, this person has just a misdemeanor, not a convicted felon or anything. If it's possible, like we're gonna expedite this process, could you please hold off on any decisions?
That's huge prevention, proactive.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I always try to tell clients if the HR department or if your employer is okay with it, I'm for sure writing a letter. First and foremost, to kind of put them on, on notice. And then from there, again, like I will contact courts, try to expedite it. We'll see how that goes, and get it done. So it's very fulfilling in that realm. But yes, discriminatory practices are very real, especially for those that with lived experiences, I would say.
I love that lived experience. Judgment is such a harsh thing, and I'm very vocal about. I was okay with leaving the state of Mississippi, and when I came back, I got heartbroken as an adult because we're in the Bible Belt, and so many people talk about Christianity. I was so negative. I was like, why is everyone acting so religious, but they're, basically doing really mean stuff, like judging people or what, everyone has a bad day. And if we were perfect, we wouldn't have room for the Most High or God, however you refer to it. And the judgment is so real. I mean, I bet you work with a lot of lovely people.
Yes, we do. And we work with a lot of people that, again, mistakes happen.
None of us are perfect.
Nobody's perfect, and mistakes happen. And honestly, I always tell people too that it could have been any of us, because in a lot of instances, you have clients where, for example, we have a client that has about 20 or so misdemeanors on her record, but all of them are dismissed. None of them are None of them are convictions. She's never been found guilty of anything. However, when the background check is run, all of those offenses are showing up. And so it's unfortunate because you can be in the wrong place at the wrong time at any moment and get caught up in world, like in life. Life happens and you get caught up in things. And as a result, you're now facing those like consequences or circumstances that you didn't even place yourself in from the beginning, or you weren't attempting to. And so it's very fulfilling to help people not only clear their records, but also remember that worth in which that they have, and also that they're human, and we're all human. And through the expungement process, I think that a lot of times it humanizes people again, because they might feel like ostracized or always placed in a box. And after the process of getting their record cleared, they just feel like, okay, I have my life back. Like I'm free. I don't have to really worry about that. Like I can walk and apply to a job and not really worry about what's gonna pop up or if a person's gonna judge me for what's popping up. So it's amazing. It's amazing.
Because I guarantee, even if someone is not concerned about an employer or a housing application, they're judging themselves. And I've talked to enough people to know we are our own worst enemy. And that feeling of ostracization is so real. And people feel like, oh, I made this mistake. They may go the rest of their lives and no one even know. No one checked their record, but it's on their soul. And you carry yourself different. It's life changing. You are truly helping people get their lives back. I love that. I applaud that. I appreciate that. And I know a lot of citizens in the state of Mississippi appreciate that. So thank you for what you do so much. Are your parents proud of you?
I hope so. I believe so.
They are.
I believe so, but I hope so. My name is Charity, and so I always just try to embody what that means, in the sense of being kind, always giving back, and wanting to be a genuine and loving presence.
That's so funny that you brought that up because one of my questions was going to be, why were you named Charity? Did your mama just manifest? Like pop that name on you. She is going to do good. She is going to be a light. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe that's too cray cray. I don't know. But you went for it. What would you say to a young Mississippian who maybe doesn't feel like they're adequate enough to go follow in your footsteps?
You are 100%. You are. Like, that's just the bottom line. I think that we are capable of anything that we set our minds to. Um, and you just believe it. If even if no one around you understands it, if you believe it and you hone in on it, and you yourself have that self discipline and self motivation to say, no, I'm gonna do it.
Right.
I don't care what y'all say. I'm gonna do it. Do it. I motivate you to do it. A lot of times, I think that nowadays, so many people are wanting the world to change or asking the world to change. You be the change. Like, I feel like I'm kind of at a point where if it's something that should be done, then maybe you come up with an idea on how it could be done. And if not, maybe we can then come to the table like we are and have conversations about how maybe we can collaborate and make it become so. So I think that that's what I would say. Like, you are 100% capable, and never, I would say, never take for granted people that are around you or beside you, because those also can be your biggest motivation. Like, those people can also be your biggest motivation and biggest contributors and your biggest champions. So who you surround yourself with matters.
That's powerful. That's powerful. I do kind of get some of the same, or I guess the interviews that I've been doing end up hitting on the same topics. And one is that people who were out there doing great things, whether it's working as an attorney in a nonprofit organization, whether it's hosting community events that are helping give our youth good things to do, instead of troubled things to do, they have faced doubt or criticism. Have you faced doubt and criticism, and how did you overcome?
Yes, I mean, that's a part of life, but I would say, again, standing firm and knowing the person in which I wanted to be, although I might not have been that person at the time, just knowing who I wanted to be helped me overcome the doubt or the criticism. It was more so an internal feeling of, regardless of what I'm facing right now, when I look back, and I'm gonna say, "Oh, wow, I dealt with that," or "I got past that." And so that really helped. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy by any means, but it is doable. And I would say that life will always try to throw something in your way or throw you off of your path, but you learn how to pivot, you learn how to reframe, you learn how to rework. It's like, okay, if this is what is being thrown at me, then how can I take this and remold it to work in my advantage or to my advantage? And it might not always come to you overnight, but again, keep that firm, sense of self and that foundation internally, and I think you'll be fine. Like, you can overcome anything. The inner peace.
I love that. I love that. See, I learn from everyone. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything you've said. I appreciate you coming on with us today. Again, Mississippi Center for Justice.
Yes.
Several campaigns. Follow them on social media.
And I also just like to give the website.
Yes, please.
So our website is MS as in Mississippi Center for justice.org. If you go on their website, there's so much information that you can read. We have a couple of events coming up, like Voices of Mississippi, in September. If you wanted to come there, it's a combination of blues, gospel music, spoken word. Tickets are on sale, so if you would like to go to our website and maybe be interested in it, please do. But yeah, our website, please look. And we have intake forms as well if there is a service in which you think you could benefit from. We have the intake forms on their website that you can fill out. And if you do not see the intake form on their website, then please feel free to email us or call us.
And say that website one more time.
And the website name is MS, as in Mississippi, Center for FOR Justice.org.
Mississippi Center for Justice.org. Check them out, see how they can help you. And as always, I encourage everyone to help someone else make Mississippi better. Thank you so much. Thank you, Charity.